No problem. So, hello and good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to the inaugural Deliverability Summit. Three superheroes create an email experience: the sender or marketer, the ESP, and the mailbox provider. So these are three cornerstones which create an email experience. In this keynote, I'm going to talk about two of them: the sender and the mailbox provider. They are seemingly different tracks, but they do converge in their objectives. As a takeaway for a marketer, I present building blocks of email strategy which is in line with the mailbox providers and create a cohesive email experience to the end user. I'm Chaitanya, and I head email business globally for Netcore. I've also co-founded a product called PeppyPost, which is an email API and which plugs into your existing CRM and delivers the email at scale. So a few tips before we start off. You're free to take screenshots, post content on social media, and the only request that I have is to use the hashtag for the love of emails. Moving on, let's talk about our first superhero, which is the mailbox provider. As an anti-spam guy, I used to be an anti-spam developer for quite a long time. Uh, as an anti-spam guy, my only goal was to protect users' mailboxes from unwanted email or spam, or there's no fixed definition for spam. Spam is a very subjective thing, and a mail which is genuine for me might not be, uh, or might be spam for my friend, or or vice versa. So uh, most of world's email is spam. That's the biggest challenge with email as a channel. Most of world's email is spam. And when being on the being a spam fighter, right? Or it used to be always like being in a Resident Evil movie, or in a Walking Dead type of scenario, right? So you would definitely see a never-ending load of spam that's hitting your walls every now and then, new patterns every time, and you need to be um, constantly monitoring, constantly looking out that there's no leakage that's happening. See, the user's mailbox are very precious, right? So that's a repository of entire digital entity of a user. Let's say if that gets compromised, a lot of things for a user can get compromised, including the bank details or something. It could be a financial detail, it could be personal content, it could be very personal detail, it could be anything, right? So that's protecting them is of utmost importance. And there are different kinds of threats that usually plague a mailbox provider. And this entire universe of spam, let's say, at one point 91% of world's email was spam. I'm sure it has gone down recently, but it's still, spam is still a dominating percentage in the email volume that goes out, that flows on the internet. So in this overwhelming scenario, I think new senders are always treated with suspicion. um, despite that, I think technologies that the mailbox providers use, the spam filters that they build, are usually 99.9% accurate. And when I was doing anti-spam, I think it was like a benchmark that we have set. Any filter that goes beyond 99.997, we used to just let the emails go and land in uh, uh, go in spam folder, if we are not that, if you're not sure about whether the mail has to be blocked. But the spam filters are at least 99.9% accurate in today's world, right? Still, even with that high level of accuracy, a bunch of legitimate or a few legitimate emails get caught in the crossfire. The challenge is because of the scale of spam that we're talking about. Every day, about 300 billion emails that flow on the internet, uh, uh, and um, most of it is spam. And at that on that scale, I think even a 0.1 percentage of inaccuracy can lead to a good number of emails, or a high number of emails going in spam, high number of legitimate emails going in spam folder. Let me put it this way, right? Um, so, but on the other side, when I talk to marketers, or when I talk to senders, from time to time, I get to hear some of these statements, right? We are a political entity, or a government agency, or a bank, and therefore all our emails should deliver to inbox. They feel entitled. I think there are definitely some agencies, or the entities that feel entitled, that all of their emails should be delivered to inbox no matter what. um, we send emails with offers to our customers, but my subscribers always get them in the spam folder. you know um, and similarly, all my users are subscribed. I've verified all my users. I send a confirmation email, but when I try to send emails to them, a bunch of my emails land in spam folder. I follow all the best practices, but still my emails go to the spam folder. So there are a bunch of these scenarios that come to me time to time. And you know I just go one level deeper. And ask a question. And this has been a constant question that I asked to most of most of the customers that I speak to, most of the brands that I speak to, is that, what is the objective of your email program? Okay. And the usual answers that I get to hear, again, uh, are the following, right? To generate more opens and higher click rates. Okay. To be able to reach all my subscribers, to generate more profits from my email program, right? These cannot be objectives. The reason these cannot be objectives is, let's say, these do not deliver an experience or give an experience to the user. Let's say, for example, let's take this example, right? Like, to be able to reach all of my subscribers. I have a million users that have subscribed, or that have subscribed to my service for the last 5 years, and I want to reach out to all of them. Simply make a list and deliver all the emails. And then, would they deliver? Would the emails go to inbox? Would the users really want those emails? Would the users interact positively with those emails? I'm not really sure about it, right? So these cannot be objectives. Okay. um, the objective that I found, which is sort of, you know taking most of the brands that we're working with, taking it from a holistic perspective, I think this is an objective, is sort of covering all of it, is to send emails that users want and create a positive email experience, right? So this, as an objective, which is certainly in line with the mailbox provider's objective of, stop all the unwanted emails and deliver only the emails that the users want. And the objective, if, let's say, if the sender also has this objective, that send emails only the users want, and if the objective is to create a positive email experience, then the lens that a marketer would look at his or her email program and devise email strategies would be slightly different from what the current strategies would be. But that's going to be a very positive change, according to me. The positive experience usually translates to, that I've seen, that it translates to better open rates, better click rates, better reachability, better ROI. These are the key results. Again, going back to the previous slide, I think these cannot be the objectives. These are the key results. Let's say the moment you deliver positive email experience to the user, it automatically translates to better open rates. The moment you are sending emails that the end users want, it automatically translates into better click rates. It automatically translates into, you know, better reachability. You can reach out to more users because you're sending emails that users are looking forward to, right? When the users are interacting more with your email, the ROI is definitely going to bump up. So that's how I'd probably look at it. So, an objective should always be in the lines of creating a positive email experience. If you don't take this qualitative metric uh, into into uh, into the fold, uh, the email strategy that you design might not be complete. There's always that missing element, right? There's always that missing element. If my strategy is just to increase open rates or click rates, or just improving the ROI, I can use I can use any means to just improve the ROI. For example, if I just, you know, I want I want more opens to happen. So, you know, I can just use a clickbaity article to get more opens and clicks. But is that really is that really something that I want as a brand? Does it really fall into that brand experience that I want to give to the user? Yeah, if answer to a question like that is that, I want to deliver a positive brand experience to the user, then um, the lens that you know you build an email strategy, or the foundation on which you build an email strategy, should be different, should definitely be different, right? Uh, so this is the convergence that I was talking about, right? The sender's objective should always be about or delivering emails that users want, on creating a positive email experience, and uh, mailbox providers also have this uh, objective of stopping unwanted emails. So these two almost are are almost same, right? uh, and when you build an email strategy in these lines, then you don't have to really worry about you know if you base your let me put it this way, right? If you build your email strategy on this foundation, then you don't have to be worried about changes to spam filters. Let's say Gmail has changed the spam filter, and my mails are landing in spam, and um, you don't have to be worried about a lot of these things, right? So in fact, if you're worried that, let's say, if I change whenever a Gmail changes Gmail or a Yahoo changes its spam filter, my emails go in spam. Or let's say I'm sort of borderline inbox to spam, and there's something fundamentally wrong with your email strategy, and you might want to look at what needs to be done to improve that. So let's take one step ahead and see what needs to be done to build such an email strategy. How to build such an email strategy, right? So uh, so there are certain building blocks. Oops, I think the animation just broke. But anyways, there are certain building blocks, right? Uh, and before even you build an email strategy, take a step back and try to understand if your entire uh, user journey, one step at a time, starting with the inflow of users, right? How are the users coming into the system? What are the modes of subscription? How are you validating the subscribers? How are you confirming that they are on the list? These are some of the fundamental questions that you start looking at. Let's say, I'll just expand a bit on that, right? When you look at the subscription, let's say, is it a single opt-in or a confirmed opt-in? Uh, while uh, while I definitely recommend every marketer to use confirmed opt-in, um, uh, in fact, I highly recommend to use the social sign up. Social sign up, right? It's a one click. It's a maybe two click subscription process where the user gets automatically validated with a Google or a Facebook or any other social ID, right? Um, uh, if the user is not if the user is doing a social sign up, then you don't necessarily have to send a confirmation email. But if the user is not doing a social sign up, giving an email address, then you might want to send a confirmation email, right? uh, how so what are the sources? So the larger question that you might want to look at is what are the different sources that the users are getting into your system. Let's say, how qualitative are they, right? So we often find that, if there are like 3 4 different sources the that users come from to sign up, we often find differences in qualities in each of these sources. It definitely makes sense to look at each of these sources individually. Let's say people who are coming directly from website, people who are directly coming from app, people who are coming from some referral program, people who are coming from some affiliate program. I don't know. So it can be multiple other programs that you might be running on social media, right? So from each of these sources, you might want to do a quality check on what is the quality of users that are coming into your system. The quality, depending on the quality, you might want to align the journey that the user has to go through right after that, right? Um, let's say that brings me to the next point where to understand the user journey, how the users are moving post the subscription has happened, right? Let's say, uh, if a user just, let's say, signs up, as I said, for a social sign up, you don't have to send a confirmation email, but at least you send a welcome email, right? You don't send a confirmation email, but at least then you can directly send a welcome email to your program, and then start acquainting with the user. But after that, how the user is interacting with your emails is something that you need to understand. The first few emails are very, very important. Let's say if you start abusing the user right from day one. Let's say the moment he signs up, the next day I'm going to send him a bunch of offers and start pushing him for a conversion. So what we have seen is that if the content is very pushy, if the content is not engaging with the user or not resonating with what user is expecting, we see more than half of the users that come into the system simply subscribe within the first 1 week itself, right? It was roughly about 52% with the brands that we have tested, and I think that's one clear takeaway, that the moment user comes in, don't bombard the user with a bunch of offers that you have, right? So you know try to understand whether what the user's interests are, and align your content with those interests, or at least in the first few emails. Let's say, for example, I understand that not uh, every user will leave enough footprint for you to actually understand or draw a behavioral pattern of the uh, uh, of the likes or dislikes of the user. But uh, but you can simply start with some subtle nudges, right? You don't have to be pushy from day one. Start with subtle nudges, and maybe get the user explore all the products that are there on your website, or explore, give choices to the user, asking him on a separate email, saying that what are those top 3 things that you're interested in our wide array of products, right? So these are some of the ways to these are some of the nudges that you can do in the first few days to get to understand to understand the user behavior or get some pattern out of it. So at least when you do, so what we've seen is that when you do a softer nudge in the first few days, at least in the first 15 days, when we did softer nudges, we've seen we've seen the user unsubscription rates have have come down have come down significantly, right? Um, so that's one takeaway. So that's one. Uh, so the way the way I'd probably look at it is every stage that the way you think about the way in fact uh, in fact what I'd suggest for every marketer to do is to take a pen and paper and put down all the stages that a user has to go through in your entire customer flow. Okay, and look at each individual stage and jot down on the connects that you can establish, not from an ROI perspective with each and every communication. It need not be from an ROI perspective. It can be a nudge or giving confidence to the user. For example, if the user has added products to the cart but is not completing a purchase, the usual behavior is to send a cart abandonment email, which is fine, correct, which you should do. I'm not saying no to it. You should definitely do it, right? If you're not doing it, you have to implement it right now, right? But at the same time, uh, address any softer apprehensions that the customer might have. Let's say, for example, um, let's say what if the user is not comfortable in doing an online transaction. So you can simply nudge the user to do give an emphasis on security, saying that how secure the transaction is, and give the user a confidence level. The problem could be with the delivery also. It could be any challenge, right? So giving that confidence at that point of time to complete the transaction definitely helps. Now, with that, email itself need not be an ROI driven, but each and every nudge, each and every positive nudge that you do to a customer at any point of the transaction or any point of a customer being in your funnel, it definitely uh, adds up to the overall ROI that you ROI or profits that you're making out of your email program, right? Um, for most of these, ESPs give you tools. So ESPs like Netcore and any other many other ESPs out there, they give in-depth tools to understand this user behavior and derive insights from those software signals that the users give. Or if you want to orchestrate a complete journey, there are tools to orchestrate this journey, the journeys too, right? The goal for any marketer is to get as many or make as many brand fans out of every user. Okay. um, so this is one you know uh, term that I really like, that while the users would definitely be interested in getting certain products. If you see, you can definitely maintain a you know tactical communication with the user, saying that these are the offers and these are the things, and you might be interested in buy it, right? But if you nudge the user in right way, what you get is a brand fan or a best customer, in other words, right? So these guys become your um, promoters, in a sense, that so they recommend you to their near and dears, and then that is stronger than any other marketing channel out there. The word of mouth is stronger than any other marketing channel out there. So this is one strategy. When you implement or when you look at your entire email program from a lens of creating a positive email experience, and build each and every communication around that objective, that is my communication going to give a positive experience to the user, If yes, then I'm going to schedule this communication. If not, I'm not going to do this, right? If you look at all of your communications, all of your email program from this lens, and then um, if executed right, I think this is going to give you a lot of brand fans, um, and a lot of positive brand equity, right? um, a sample implementation that I've sort of put together, that a sign up. This is a a typical user journey in the funnel, and different stages that I've just marked out, earmarked. Um, so, as I said, as soon as sign up is done, there's a sign up confirmation or a welcome series. Um, and in the first few days, getting acquainted with the user, as I said, is very important, where, understanding the user interests. In fact, yeah, this is one point that I did not talk about, where, you tie, you bring together the website, app, and email data together, and derive a complete view of it. And that gives a better behavioral picture of the user, and it gives you a better means of targeting the user, right? Let's say if I browse certain section of products on the website, maybe you definitely have my interest on the website. Now how do you target that using that data in an email that you send to me, right? So um, that's the overall idea there. The next best action is, depending on where the user is in the entire life cycle. Sending a relevant email depending on that life cycle is, um, this is actually a no-brainer, but I think it's still, it's still one of the fundamentals that definitely needs to be implemented in the email program. Personalization is sort of catching up, and I've seen a lot of brands implement personalization this year compared to the last one. In fact, yeah, the personalization is definitely catching up in many parts of the world that I see. That so personalization is not just, let's say, first name and last name personalization. It goes one level deeper into content personalization, where, let's say, for example, yeah, for a news and media portal, right? For example, if you send a daily newsletter, right? Daily newsletter or daily morning news. And I, as a user, if I'm interacting with only sports and technology, and versus a user is interacting with politics and, let's say, business related news, for example, right? You could um, uh, the brand typically, constructs an email subject line to the first pane of the content, which is specifically, if it's delivering to me, the subject line is of sports, the top headline of sports or technology for that day. And then the first pane is of, again, sports, and then followed by the rest of the other, politics and other, other pieces. And for the same email which gets delivered for to the other user who's interested in politics, the subject line is politics, and the first pane is politics, and then, maybe sports and technology is somewhere below the uh, somewhere below in the email, right? So this level of personalization based on the user behavior, and same applies with the e-commerce also, right? On In the entire catalog of products that I'm getting, if I'm clicking on certain section of products, then, my content gets automatically aligned to highlight, or the hero image and the highlights come from that section of products compared to the others. So this level of personalization is catching up with most of the brands that we are working with, and this is definitely adding up to the overall ROI that they are getting out of email program. And the positive impact of this is, there is definitely more affinity with the user. Let's say user is definitely resonating with the subject lines, the first pane of the product. So there's a definite resonance that's happening. So uh, and while this is catching up, I see, I see this is yet to get to a wildfire kind of stage right now. I think that's one call to action for all the marketers here. Um, uh, in any email program, from time to time, you need to get feedback. You need to definitely get feedback from time to time. The reason why you need to get a feedback is that most of the email programs that marketers construct, it is um, it is by imagining an ideal customer profile, right, which is closer to them, or an ideal customer profile which in reality do not exist. Like, these are like certain attributes who is desperately in need of this brand's offers and something like that, right? uh, the real world users are completely different. Um, there are different users interact with your emails differently. Some users interact with your emails extremely well, and some users, you know come and go from time to time, and some users don't even interact with your emails. But it is important to get feedback from each of these sections of users from time to time. The reason why you need to get a feedback is, let's say, if there is a section of users that are interacting with your emails uh, significantly, in a heavy interactions, right? So uh, and they also turn out to be your best customers, right? They contribute to higher purchases. They contribute to higher engagement and reputation for your brand. If they don't, if any of those users are churning out, then there is something seriously wrong with the content strategy that you have, that you're reaching out with, right? So that's something I'd ask every marketer to look at. Take feedback from each of the sections of users. Suppose that the users are not interacting, a bunch of users have reduced interactions, but you should know why they have reduced those interactions. While there are definite signals that you get from the ESP, you should there's nothing that compares to a real world interaction to reach out randomly and figure out why they are not interacting with your emails, right? And for all the best customers that you have, build a best customer program, right? So they all users are not equal. So that's true for any brand, that all users don't come in equal weightages. So there are some customers who weigh more, uh, in terms of the value that they add to your email program and also to your business. And there are some customers who do not add more value. You need to build different programs for each of these segments. So that's how I probably look at constructing your entire email program, right from the moment a user is signed up, going through different stages. While this is in no means a complete email strategy, there are a bunch of sections, a bunch of sessions that are lined up, which will cover most of it. This The intention of this talk is just to give you a basic understanding of how objectives of, let's say, a mailbox provider and a sender are almost the same, right? And for marketers to look at slightly, from a different lens compared to what they've been looking uh, which aligns the overall objective to what mailbox providers also have. And in a nutshell, it creates a positive experience or email experience for the end user, and also present with a sample strategy that you can probably look at and then take it and implement in your current email program. So that's the core essence of my talk today. I hope I hope I've added value to the overall conversation, that the email program that you run. Um, if you have any questions, thoughts, please feel free to ask now. Thank you.